morning, users. Now we are going to know what matter is. Matter is something which has mass and take up a space. Okay, and what is mass? Mass is basically an intrinsic property of a matter. Intrinsic property means the property that is present by itself. मतलब वो property पहले से present. That property मतलब inherited property is known as mass. Okay. Now, how many forms of matter is there? Forms of matter is of basically of two types. That is a pure substance and second is mixture. Pure substance is basically divided into two parts. First is element, second is compound. And mixture is divided into two parts. That is homogeneous mixture and second is heterogeneous mixture. Okay. Now let us basically describe the other thing. What is an element? Element is basically a species of an atom with same number of proton in atomic nuclei, and we can also understand the element is like if we change the number of electron of an atom which has, you will get the corresponding ion of the element. But if you change the number of neutron of an atom, you will get an isotopes of that element. And if you change the number of proton of the atom, you will get the newly different element. So element is basically a species of atom with the same number of proton in an atomic nuclei. Okay. What is then compound? Compound is basically a form by a chemical composition of two or more elements in a definite mass. Okay, definite mass proportion. Okay, compound is basically a chemical composition of the two elements. Compound has a different properties than their constituent element. It has a different property than element which is the compound made of. For example, HCl, ACl, H2O, NaCl. Now we will understand what the mixture is. Mixture is basically the assemblance of an element without a chemical link or without a chemical composition. Okay, without a chemical bonding. They are mainly of two kinds. That is homogeneous mixture, which is also known as solution. Compound that has been uniformly blended, such as sugar dissolved in water, is basic. For its example, sugar dissolved in water. Salt solution is basically an example of homogeneous mixture. Now let us understand the heterogeneous mixture. Heterogeneous mixture, the components are still clearly distinguished from one another as in sand and water. Okay, like sand put in the water is basically an example of homogeneous mixture. So in homogeneous mixture, basically there is no too clear boundary between the two components which are mixed together. But in heterogeneous mixture, the components which are mixed together has a clear boundary between them. You can basically identify the two components. But in homogeneous mixture, you cannot identify the two components because they completely mixed with each other. Now there is a third form of mixture which is colloids. Colloid is basically which contain dispersed particle like milk suspension, where large particles gradually settle out, such as orange juice with a pulp are the further example of the mixture. These classifications are based on the colloids. Basic classification are based on the particle size and homogeneity. Okay, so colloid is basically the higher form of study. If you want to know what colloid is, I will further make the video. If you make in the comment. Thanks for the watching.